Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, today is day 6 of my NoFap journey. I have a feeling this one's gonna break records, so I want to talk about the last time I went on a record NoFap journey. What had happened was in 2021, we had just returned to the office, and I quickly realized how big a quandary I had. What had happened was during the quarantine, I used masturbating as a way to stamp out the other bad habits in my life, right? You got to remember, during quarantine, I was battling binge eating problems, I was battling sleep disorder kind of problems, and masturbating became my crutch. Every time I had a food craving, I would go masturbate. Now, that seemed like a good idea until we returned to the office and I realized that I didn't have space to do that. And also, it was affecting relationship issues. I had briefly dated a Thai girl when I was in Seattle, and I would often hide out to masturbate instead of spending time with her. And there were other issues like that. The transition of going back to social life made me realize how badly I was addicted to masturbating. I got much more so during the quarantine. I heard during the quarantine, porn addiction grew exponentially. The funny thing is, I never masturbate to porn, if you can believe it. I much prefer girls with their clothes on. It is so weird. Even when I'm dating, the last thing I want is for the girl to take her clothes off. I just find girls so much more attractive when they're well dressed, and which makes the masturbating habit that much harder for me because you don't have to. You don't have to have anything incriminating, like I like if my mom could look at everything on my laptop and there would be nothing crazy for her to see. She would have no idea I had a masturbating habit. Well, she would know because she knows my quirks. But imagine my boss happened to come into contact with my laptop. I wouldn't be afraid of that, right? That's how badly I like girls with their clothes on, right? And plus there's no age restriction there either, right? I can look at girls who are not quite legal age too because they got their clothes on, right? So it makes the addiction that much worse in a way, right? And unfortunately, that was my addiction in a nutshell. Now it was Elisa Gennazi's, let's see, 2021, 36th birthday when I went on NoFap for quite a number of days, actually. Now, the problem is that, again, you got to remember what the masturbating was solving, or at least masking, right? And as a result, my eating habits went out of control. I was trying, like I talked about in my last video, I was trying marijuana, and eventually I had to give it up. I give up the no fap, and I went on another one. On I used to fantasize about Lisa Gennazi a lot, and I had big fantasies about Mary Curry as well. Right. Good luck finding a photo of her undressed, right? Or even Elisa Gennazi for that matter, right? That's not what she was involved in, right? So like I said, having an addiction to fantasizing about girls well dressed makes the addiction so much. You got 8 billion people to choose from there, right? If you want to watch porn, you got to your options are much more limited, right? And anyway, Mary Curie discovered polonium 210 on July 18, 1898. I had just relapsed just before July 18 that year, and I decided to give it another try in honor of Mary Curie because I fantasized her so much. And that was the longest one I ever did. That one lasted 3.5 months. And during that time, I was really messed up, though. My work suffered, at the beginning at least. Eventually, I caught the rhythm back on. I moved to Phoenix during that time period, and that trip was just so awful. because you got to remember I'm sleeping out of my car, and something about sleeping in your car really creates a lot of temptation to masturbate. And that trip was kind of interesting because I would get a craving, and I would like, come on, I got to keep driving because I don't want to break my no fap. And so I would end up only sleeping a couple hours at a time while I was on the road. And you know what? I discovered polyphasic sleeping quite by mistake because I realized how little sleep I needed when I slept like that. Now here's one challenging question I have for you guys. Does polyphasic sleeping work? Yes and no. I do get away with sleeping a whole lot less when I sleep polyphasically. The problem is I don't necessarily benefit from having all that extra time because a lot of the things that I want to do require some train of thought. Having 3 hours here and 3 hours there is a very different concept than having a block of 6 hours. And that's something I haven't resolved yet. If anybody has a solution to that, please leave a comment because I have been thinking about this for a long time. Anyways, I got to Phoenix and I was really messed up. What's really frustrating about NoFap is that you're messed up and you can't necessarily explain to people what you're going through, right? I had one, I was working at a tutoring center, and one of the high school students knew I was withdrawing from something. It turned out that she had a drug habit at one point and had gotten off. She was huffing things, actually, had gotten off, and so she recognized withdrawal. And I confessed to her, yeah, I am withdrawing, but it's kind of something personal. And she said she has seen it all, that I could tell her about it. And I said, it's something that only guys get involved in. She said, okay. And so it was just really frustrating that I can't really tell people what I'm going through, except that people know that I'm in withdrawal. I had another student. I straight up told her, apologies, I'm going through withdrawal, and he had the decency to not ask me what I was withdrawing from. Right, a lot of younger people are much more sensitive these days. And actually, I'm not so sure how long I should count that no fap journey. It lasted 68 days, but unfortunately, something happened around the 40-day mark that I don't know if I should count as a relapse. I had gone to my favorite meetup group for Pokemon TCG. There was a girl there that I had a crush on, and I finally got a chance to hug her. When I did, something bad happened, and I'm not sure if that counts as a relapse, though. But so either 40 or 68 days, whatever you want to call it. And so that was my longest no fap. But I think I'm going to break that record this time around. I'm confident for some reason. Hopefully, I'm not being overly confident and complacent. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.